Welcome to the Peaceful Entrepreneur Podcast, where together we're learning how to have peace in the process of everyday business ownership by improving one step at a time how we think and what we do. I'm your host, Amy Stout. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Peaceful Entrepreneur. I am excited to be back on YouTube today for my first couple episodes back for 2024. I decided to just keep it simple and go audio only, but the time has come. So I am back on video, and if you are like me and you like to actually put your podcast up on the TV and watch the people talk, you can do that now just by going to our YouTube, search the Peaceful Entrepreneur Podcast. We are there, and I'm a big fan of this, and I look forward to continuing to up the production as time goes on. We'll get there one step at a time, right? Well, today I am here to talk about TikTok. I recorded an episode on this about a year ago, talking about how I broke up with TikTok and I decided to delete it for Lent last year in 2023. And then pretty quickly I was like, oh, I'm not re-downloading this. I will not be getting this back. So I actually explained in that episode, but I kind of deleted it on a whim. I didn't really think about it for a long time. I think my friends were just deleting social media apps for Lent, and I was like, yeah, I can do that too. It maybe had been bugging me for a little bit. I'd been considering it, but I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. And after a few weeks, like I said, I became pretty sure pretty fast that I would not re-download it. And the reasoning being my head was clearer. I had less thoughts bouncing around. There was less mental busyness. And I also wasn't struggling as much with comparison because I wasn't putting as much into my mind to compare to. So I wanted to do this episode today because it's been a year. We just started Lent again this year, and I truly have not gotten back on TikTok. The funny thing is I never actually deleted the app from my phone for when people send me TikToks, and occasionally I would go on and be like, I really loved this TikToker, I wonder what they're up to, and I would go and watch their stuff and catch up on them. But other than that, truly, I have not done the habitual scrolling thing. And before I dive in, I really am not trying to vilify TikTok because for about 3 years, I was regularly on there every single day, and it was a great escape for me. And I didn't feel convicted from doing that on a regular basis for that period of time. But something did change. And what I do want to talk about today is just to pose to you, hey, there could be other ways that are going to be better opportunities to rest and escape and get a deeper rest and a more rounded break from the world than TikTok. You've heard me talk quite a few times about how many books I read last year, and that is a big reason that I was able to read so much because I wasn't spending that time scrolling, I was spending it reading. And I accidentally read 60 books, which is amazing. So I gained more time back to read, to do other things. I also gained mental clarity and mental peace. And what did I lose? I really can't think of anything. I mean, sure, maybe I'm a little bit further behind on the trends, but I don't care about that. And the irony is I work with content creators, but I'm not a content creator. So I'm not responsible to be up on everything. And so truly, I really don't feel like I lost anything by getting rid of TikTok. And deleting the app actually started a chain of events throughout the whole next year. So in November, I ended up deleting Instagram for a break, which I've done before. I've taken breaks from Instagram for months at a time, quite a few times, but I ended up deleting Instagram for a little bit. Then just recently, within the last couple of weeks, I have deleted Facebook and Snapchat, and I have significantly decreased my usage of YouTube and podcasts. So I really, my phone is kind of down to the bare bones. I get that craving to scroll, and I go, and I'm like, there's nothing here to scroll. And then I go find something else to do. Or as my friend Megan, who was on episode 41, encouraged me, it's well, if you're thinking you want to scroll, then that's probably a great opportunity to pray. kind of treating it like fasting. Like when you get hungry, you pray. Now when I want to scroll, I pray. So I love that idea as well. And then I haven't said this yet online, but I actually deleted Instagram off my phone again. It was overwhelming me to have it on there, to be able to just click it anytime and scroll. And for some reason, going on Instagram on my desktop feels way more manageable because I don't get stuck in the doom scroll as much. I don't feel as much pressure. So having it actually off my phone is so helpful. And I'm still working out like what that means and how that works for having a podcast and a business that you need Instagram for, but we'll figure it out. I will say though that I'm leaning more into emails. I have upped my emails to weekly. So every Wednesday when a podcast episode drops, so does an email. And I've been having a lot of fun and I've been getting really sweet feedback. Like my friend Katie said, you just feel like a friend. Like your newsletter is just so friendly. And that meant the most. And I actually have to thank Katie because she helped me redesign a new little email template. So I'm so much happier with how the emails actually look now. And so if you want to hit up Katie, her website is katiefridge.com. And she is a website designer, but she also is extremely skilled with like Canva and graphic design. And she's so creative and so fun and just fast, great to work with. So if you are in need of anything like that, hit my girl up. I say that we're like twins because we got red hair, we got blue eyes, we married our college sweethearts, and both of our love languages are plants and coffee. So, go check her out. So anyways, leaning into emails a little bit more. So if you're not signed up for my emails, I will leave a link in the description so that you can check them out because they're super fun. And I share like more details of behind the scenes than I do in the episodes, especially since I'm not on Instagram stories as much right now. That's where you're going to get the behind the scenes. So I would highly recommend signing up. So I've talked about what I lost. I've talked about the chain of events that sparked from deleting TikTok. Now I want to really focus on what I gained. Because like I mentioned, I gained a lot of time back. I did not look at how much time I was spending on TikTok on a regular basis, nor do I want to. But I do know that I got a lot of time back. And that's incredible. And that's important for my future when I start to have kids, when I start to build other businesses. Like, time is very important to have and to use wisely. So that is great. But honestly, even more than that, even more than getting my time back, the value that I place on the peaceful mental space that I'm able to maintain more consistently because I don't have social media, that is what is valuable to me. And that's really the core mission of this podcast because I have made it my personal mission to pursue a peaceful mindset in the day-to-day as I build my business, not waiting for one day once things arrive or, get to a certain point because that's never going to come. How do I find that peace now? This is a large piece to that. And it's not about cutting social media and not doing things. It's about taking control of how you're interacting with them because they are designed to control you. They are designed to keep you on them. And so if you don't intentionally take the effort and make the plans and boundaries in your mind for how you're going to interact with them, they will take over. So that is really my point here. Not wanting to guilt anybody, just wanting to give you the tools for if you feel like your brain is completely crowded, completely overwhelmed, you can't think straight, you're constantly spiraling in comparison, maybe this is something that will help you. Another thing is I have a lot more time to think and process because I can't numb and I can't just sweep stuff under the rug and open TikTok. And I know that's really hard. I know that a lot of people's natural coping mechanism is to just like brush it under the rug. But that is only going to make your future more stressful because you have to deal with it at some point. And so the value in dealing with it immediately is going to bring you such a deeper peace than a quick shut the door, brush it under the rug, and laugh at TikTok for an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I have found truer and fuller rest because I take the time regularly to process what I need to process. And I also am able to be very intentional with my rest. And that's kind of the last thing that I want to focus on here is rest, because that is a crucial component to your peace as a human, but also as an entrepreneur. Rest is not earned. Rest should be built in as part of your natural process. You will be less productive if you don't rest, even though that's counterintuitive. It's like, no, I have to spend the time working. That's how I'm going to get stuff done. That's how I'm going to be productive. No, your brain needs time to reset and recharge and process, and you will come back better every time you rest. And so if you are able to cut out the things that are just distractions, you'll be able to find ways to more fully rest, and you'll be able to more fully show up back to your business after the rest is finished. So here is what my rest looks like at the moment. These are a few things that provide rest for me. Obvious first one, I read a lot of fiction, and fiction is fun. It's another way to escape. But the thing about reading is it's less engaging than TikTok in terms of it doesn't capture your attention as extremely right away, right? And so you kind of have to get yourself to a good space mentally to be able to focus on reading. And that's kind of going into what I'm saying about deal with the hard stuff, process it, then find a deeper place of rest. And then reading is a really fun way to just enjoy and enter a new world and appreciate someone else's creativity. So I love me some reading. I've been going to bed earlier. That's a big one with TikTok because that will make you scroll till the early hours of the morning. But I have been really enjoying getting in bed sometimes at 9:15 and then I'm asleep by 10, and it's great. That doesn't happen every night, but I am consistently going to bed earlier, which makes for healthier sleep and then allows me to show up better the next day. I love taking walks outside. It's about to warm up. Other than the pollen, I have to stay inside during the pollen because my allergies are horrible. But once we're past that, I am so pumped for being outdoors and getting fresh air. And that is such a good way to reset, refresh, move your body, and get some rest. Of course, talking with your friends, whether it's about fun stuff, whether it's helping you process, that is a form of resting. I've also recently picked up scrapbooking, which is fun. I want to capture our memories before they fade. So I'm doing currently a scrapbook of our college years because Luke and I got together at the beginning of college, dated all the way through, got married right after. So I'm doing a scrapbook of those years. I printed out 275 photos and I am making little collages and talking about our life, writing out little note cards to remember things. And that's been a super fun way to escape. I've been watching early 2000s rom-coms while I do it. So that's also been super fun. If traveling is restful for you, escaping, getting somewhere else, that's another great option for rest. That's a great thing to do on a periodic basis. Build it in. Build your rest in. How am I resting every day? How am I resting every week? How am I resting every month? How am I resting every quarter? So for me, I am working on a 3-day weekend every quarter. That could be a travel weekend. That could be an at-home weekend, whatever is going to be most restful for you. But I know that getting away is a great option for a lot of people. This one's going to be silly, but I honestly, if I'm in the right headspace, cleaning is kind of restful for me because it's therapeutic, it's productive, and the feeling you get afterward is just so incredible. So I have enjoyed on a nice free Saturday when I can wake up whenever I want, read for a couple hours and then do some cleaning and then maybe like bake something. It's been amazing. So cooking/baking as well, depending on what it is. Like, I don't know about you, but I have certain things I love to cook. Soup, for some reason, my favorite thing. I love chopping everything up really tiny. I love like the onion and the garlic and, all of those things. So cooking or baking something that feels therapeutic for you is restful. It's restful. It's taking your mind off of the normal things that you're always thinking about. It's getting you out of a stress spiral. It's focusing your attention on something that you're creating, that you can enjoy later, that you can bless other people with. Like it is rest. Playing music or listening to music is another fun one. I play the bass and I love playing music with a group so much. So that is definitely a great escape. Or if you play piano or if you play guitar and you can just play and sing even by yourself, that can be so peaceful. And then of course, I just have to mention, like I mentioned, building daily rest in. Spending time on my morning routine every day and making sure I spend time with God every day makes the biggest difference. And that is the way that I rest on a daily basis. So you need to make sure you have those pockets of rest in each of those time periods. Like I mentioned earlier, build that rest in and you will start to see peace coming into your life in a different way than you've ever experienced very quickly. And the more that you practice those things, the more deep your rest will get. And if you have a relationship with God and you are pursuing that on a regular basis, like I always say, the ultimate rest, the ultimate peace is found in having that relationship with God. And so making sure that you're spending time on that, making sure that that is your ultimate priority on a daily basis will literally change the game. It really will. And if that's something that you're interested in talking about, whether you believe the same as me or whether you're just curious about what I believe, my email inbox is always open. So I have to be honest, I will probably never get TikTok back. I can say that pretty confidently. And I will probably continue to delete stuff off my phone to the point where it's like very bare bones. And I do that because that's what helps me stay peaceful. And I know that life is only going to get fuller and more overwhelming, and I'm going to have to fight harder and harder for my peace. So I'm going to do what I have to do. It will allow me to be more present in my life, to soak up the world around me, the people around me. My future family and kids will be better for it. And it makes me feel so good to be intentionally preparing for that now and prepare my mind and my heart for that now so that when it comes, I'll be more settled and more ready for it. So my question to you today is, has there been something that's popped into your head as you've been listening today that you're like, yeah, that's taking up a lot of unnecessary space in my calendar and my brain? All I'm asking is for you to keep considering it. I never want to shame anyone. I never want to judge anyone. I never want to make you feel judged. I just want to make you think and take a step back and take an opportunity to lead your life with intention and be proactive rather than reactive, because that small switch makes the biggest difference. Like I mentioned earlier, I send an email every week the day the podcast drops now. So anytime you have thoughts or want to continue the convo, just hit reply on that email. It'll come straight to me and I would love to chat more. So thank you so much for listening. I have linked the episode that I initially talked about deleting TikTok in the description if you want to listen to where my head was at a year ago. And I'm looking forward to being back with you next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. Don't forget to connect with us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And we would love it if you would leave a review wherever you're listening. We'll see you next week for more tips for how to become a peaceful entrepreneur.